strainer basket. This here is the pump right back here, and this is the motor. And what's happening is this works almost like your heart and your body. So what you're going to have is these are your intakes. So you're going to have a main drain that is actually pulling water from the bottom of the pool drain, comes into here, goes into the pump. So this is the suction right here. Then what you have is your skimmer and skimmer 1 and 2. Those are those white lids right out there on each of the pool. And they come in. This is an automated valve here. And I'll go over that with a pool spa combination. This is the spa drain. So you can choose if you want to suck from the spa only or just the pool or vice versa. So what happens is our water comes in from these pipes. These are all your intakes. This is just like you know, where your water flows in, comes in, goes through a strainer basket. Your strainer basket here is where the leaves or extra debris that gets past those strainer baskets is a safety to make sure it doesn't get into the impeller. Once it goes into the impeller, that's the motor that actually turns it. Then it comes up through here, and then this is an extra line in case y'all want to waste water out on a bad day, or you just want to drain too much water out quickly. You could turn this valve here. It would just drain water and drain the pool. Of course, if you have a drain the pool like that, you'd have to make sure you turn both skimmers off, because once you go below the skimmer on the pool, it would start to suck air.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So, then your water comes in through your filter. This is inlet. This is a very good cartridge filter. There's a lot of different cartridge filters on the market today, but this is the Sta-Rite System 3. And what's really good about the Sta-Rite System 3 is that they call it the System 3 because you can easily convert it into a DE filter, or you can make it into a cartridge filter or a sand filter, but you'd have to put a multi-port valve on it to turn it into a sand filter. So your water just kind of comes in, goes through the cleats, and most sand filters, to give you an idea, filter about 25 microns. That's the worst filtration if you think about it. The lower the number, the better. The cartridge filter filters about 10 microns. DE is the best on filtration. It filters about 5 microns. So you see the difference. So DE is top of the line, cartridge is in the middle, sand is the worst. But on the other hand, with sand filters, they take more abuse.
Right.
You know, if you're using them in commercial with suntan oil, you can abuse them more. You don't have to do as much. You know, it doesn't filter as good, but you can put stuff in it and buy stuff to make it filter almost as good, but then it costs you more money. If sand filter can just keep on going for 5 years with no, you know, maintenance. But then you got a multi-port valve that wears and tears out with a gasket that can leak out. You got to run a drain line that costs you more money.
Right.
So in this market area, the cartridge does the best, because it's right in the middle. But with Sta-Rite, it's an upgrade higher, because now we're actually almost a better micron at about a 7. You see what I'm saying? So that's what's really good, the way it's engineered. But then when you ever change these cartridges, they're about $500. But they last 5 years, 3 to 5 years. So you have some good points with cartridges. People love them. But what happens is when they go to clean them, they forgot they didn't do nothing for either 6 months to a year, depending on the pressure when it goes up, to go clean them. And then you're like, huh, I want to kill that guy, you know.
Right.
Sand, you do something once a week or twice a week by flipping a handle, so you never have that sudden cleaning ability. DE, you're filtering the best, but you got to buy that powder to make it work. It's called dimetic earth powder that you got to constantly put on there. People abuse them. Sometimes the powder starts spitting back into the pool. You still got a dimetic earth. They consider the powder hazardous waste. So when you backwash, you got to backwash it into another tank that you got to clean out that makes it a cartridge.
Right.
So what Sta-Rite did is, if you want a DE filter, you just buy the extra cleats. Right now, you can make this a DE. If you don't have it, you just unscrew it, lift it out, hose it out, put it back in, reload it with DE. See what I'm saying? But DEs, you got to constantly clean a little bit more.
Right.
So just as if anybody ever, the reason I like to give you a quick run through is everybody says sand's better, DE's better. Depends on the application. You know, every application's different. You want to use the right filter depending on the application you're in. Overall, the cartridge just works really good, because if somebody does want a good filter, you could put the DE grids in here, just like a cartridge, and have both and go back and forth. So if you wanted to polish your water, but just remember, the DE needs to be taken out at least once or twice a month to be cleaned sometimes and reloaded. So I'm getting at, rather than a cartridge, can go 3 months, 6 months to a year, depending on if it's an indoor pool, application, a bathing load, and stuff like that. You judge it by your gauge. So as a starter, we always start, but we give you the system free so you can go either way. So that's a very good filter, and that's what's cleaning all the water, and then it basically goes into your heater. And this is a real nice heater because eyes up on stuff. Even though we're not, the regular water out in the Atlantic is about 38,000 parts per million. We're only at 3,800 parts per million rather than 38,000. I'm sorry. We're at 3,800, about 10% of what the Atlantic Ocean is and stuff. Then we go through a salt cell. The salt cell, what it's doing is it takes the salt that's in the water, and through electrodes, we change the molecules to chlorine. So we create a chlorine through electrolysis through the cell, and then we come out, when it comes out of the cell, we actually produce chlorine. So we can hold a chlorine residuant in the water at all times. So if somebody went in there that was infected, or somebody cut themselves or anything like that, you have a sanitizer in the pool at all times that can kill bacteria within 2 minutes. And that's why salt systems are approved for right.
In a hot tub, it'll filter through the hot tub?
No, it's all going to filter. Just put it in an area where it can at least sit in one area. If you put it in, try to brush it around a little bit. You should brush the pool anyway.
I normally recommend keep the players running right after they put salt in there to stir it up.
Yeah, that's another good idea, so it can mix it around.
Yeah.
So if it does sit. Like a mixer
blowing
screen.
out to move, so it's
way it turns. Okay, we got it 50-50. So right now, since you got dual fountains on your spa, they probably figured, whoever said it, you needed at least half the water to go to the spa, so the fountain will work at all times, and then the other half to go. So now we go 50-50, and of course you leave the spa closed on the drain because there's no need to suck. We're sucking from the pool and bringing in fresh water, and then it overflows. So it gets into the same pool, so you leave this here. Now if we go to spa mode, by clicking this valve one time, this should turn all the way. And of course, Patty, if you get it on the camera there, I'm sure our camera guy's catching that, you can see that it's going to turn off the pool completely. And that, if you don't ever see something turn right, a lot of times what will happen is these little switches under here, they try to put stuff, but dogs hit them, or people might hit them, or a stick, or anything, or somebody doesn't know, you can actually put something the opposite way. So right now, as you see, we're in the right position right here, where we're returning no water, but accidentally people can actually hit this little valve here, and watch what's going to happen. This one didn't turn, and what'll happen is it'll put it the opposite way. So you can always work it manually if something went wrong with your control, or you can screw this little cock down, push it, and then turn it manually too, by unlocking this and pushing down on the handle. Now you'll see what'll happen is, if you ever had this position, we're sucking from the pool and returning to the spa, so you can see you're going to have a problem, right?
Right.
What's going to happen is you're going to, you're going to have a problem where the water is just constantly coming from the pool. You'll try to heat it, it'll never heat up, because you're going to end up trying to heat the whole pool, because we're sucking from those ports, and then of course we're just sending it to the spa, and then what will happen is the fountains will just keep on dumping your heat out.
Right.
So always check on that. You can always make sure if you're in spa mode, you want to suck from the spa and return to the spa. Therefore you only heat the spa water.
Right.
If a pipe broke and the system went out, or if something got hit by lightning and it fried anything here, you can always work stuff, if this is stuck in on mode, by turning your breakers on and off manually. Or if you don't know what's going on, call the number. In the meantime, if you want to be safe, turn all the breakers off. Out of all the reading, if you follow these settings on here, the pH, the chlorine, the salt, and everything is a very good manual and tells you what to do, levels. If you just follow these steps right here, you'll never have a problem with your plaster. You'll never have a problem with staining. Make sure you don't drop this gasket right here. or fall out. A lot of times, I don't know, Patty, you get it, can you see? A lot of times what will happen is I'll come into somebody's yard, they'll put the basket back on, it's a common mistake, pump will never prime. And they'll call up and they'll say, I don't know what a pump is, and the gasket might be sitting in the grass and they didn't notice it. You got to have that gasket in there. Take the basket, put the basket back in. You see the problem? It's not all the way in. See that hole? Make sure that hole lines up into that spot there. You know, you can always, so I'm going up and down. Tap on it a little bit. And
I didn't get that.
Now you want the hose?
You got to
Yeah, well,
remember,
we can just-
you got to tap of it and then roll it across the yard.
yeah, roll it across the yard. That's right.
Did you get that on
Yep.
camera?
We got to make the video a little funny or nobody watches it. All right. There you go. Now your basket's nice and clean. Of course, we're getting air in the system. So you got to put it in there. Now what I'm going to do is take a little water. I'm going to rub right up on here. See what I'm doing? I'm making sure I don't have anything in there. I'm going to take my gasket. Normally it wouldn't have came off, but since I knocked it off, you see how I have something right there? We want to make sure we don't have anything or leaves or anything that's in there. And if you want there, because you're not going to open this up too much, if you want, just make sure your gasket's right there. Normally it would stay in there, but since I already took it off, I'm just showing you another way. So I'll fit it in there. Take your lid, lock it right on. You don't need it real tight. All it's doing is just one little turn. It's holding the gasket from moving up and down. So you don't need to bog it down and lock it.
I
That's why
also told them to keep it lubricated too.
yeah, keep it lubricated. So you can see it's going to prime up. When you want to open this up, make sure it doesn't get into it. You can see how we're getting the air. Got a good prime right there. You don't have to, it'll do it automatically. See how we got a full prime? Look, all the air came out the top. Look at some air bubbles. See over there? You're going to get air bubbles coming out of this, blowing out. So, see how the fountains are jumping? Still got air